faith, family, future. We building big. Welcome to the Beauty and Building Podcast. Yeah. We go up when we steppin', yeah, we rise again.
Well, ladies, so the music that you guys hear, that you guys just heard playing. Oh, first let me introduce myself really quickly since we haven't started recording yet. But my name is Lynnecia. I am a business owner. Of course, Shamika already said that. But I'm also an author. And so I wrote a book called The Beauty of Building. And that's kind of how my healing process started to begin, when I was able to kind of start pouring out all of the different things that I had inside of me. But recently, I started doing music. And I cannot sing, okay? But I love music. I've always wanted to do music. I've always kind of like hung out in the studios. I had friends who did music. And so when the AI platform started coming out where you can produce music, I did an album. And I created an artist. Her name is Dolls Diva. She has 3 albums out on all of the streaming platforms now. So what you guys just heard is one of the snippets from my album. It's called Savage Soul. It's 22 songs on that album. And then she has a Christmas album called A Very Diva Christmas. And I just put out a K-pop album. So just kind of exploring and doing different things. But the podcast came from me really just wanting to sit down and talk with different women about how they were able to build their platforms, some of the different things that they've gone through, and then just allowing different women to be able to sit down and connect. And the platform isn't just for women, but from my perspective, just really being able to sit down with the community. I had my salon for like 3 months, and I started doing giveaways and book bag drives, and just really wanting to share my space, because it's very rare for women who look like me, especially in my age group, to have storefront real estate in major shopping centers. And so I told God, when he put me on a monopoly board, that when people stopped by, I wasn't going to collect their money, but I was going to pour into them. So that's kind of like my spiel, and one of the reasons why I decided to do the Beauty and Building podcast. But I appreciate you guys coming to sit in for the live version. So as soon as he, starts recording and we could get ready, then we'll get started. But I'm going to keep playing the music until he's ready.
Bare, I'm standing here bare. No lashes, no armor, no makeup, no hair. Just a woman I'm scared to let someone compare. But if you really love me, then meet me there.
Spotify, Apple.
I've been hiding in my strength for too long.
Really good. I can't wait
her just to stay
different
looking
people in
strong.
here, especially at my party.
Wearing a smile like it's never been wrong. But even diamonds need a break from the pressure they're on. I got wounds I never speak about. Fears I turn the music up to drown out. Love I hold back when my heart is down. But baby, I'm tired of shutting the real me out. Can you hold the parts of me that cry? Can you see my truth with your own eyes? If I lay my soul out in the light, will you stay through the night? Oh, bare, I'm standing here bare. No lashes, no armor, no makeup, no hair. Just a woman I'm scared to let someone compare. But if you really love me, then meet me there. I've been carrying shadow pain on my spine, healing inside. I trust you with my
Well,
truth
it
tonight.
seems like you
Don't
being
run
here is
away when
just
I
as
dim
impactful.
my light. Stay when I don't get everything right. Show me love, don't need a spotlight. If I'm bad, would you cover me in grace? If I'm bad, would you wipe the tears from my face? If I'm bad, would you stay in this sacred place?
It's so
Would you
good.
disappear?
Listen, when I started churning this music, I said, "Oh no, I gotta do this." Like once it started coming out the way it started coming out, and I was like, you know, when I started singing the songs to my husband, he was like, "What are you doing? Who is this?" And I was like, "Do you like it?" He was like, "It sounds so good." And I was like, "All right then, we got something working." And like this is not for like fame or for me to like make a whole bunch of money. It just literally was like me being able to be a creative. And like God brought this whole studio to me on my MacBook and on my iPhone.
He
And
like
I
the
was
way I
like,
walk, can you handle that? Pretty little thing, but the booty.
I'm not gonna make y'all listen to it. Yes. So her name is Dollz Diva, DOLLZ Diva, and her album is on all of the platforms. She's on YouTube, Apple Music. We still waiting on Amazon. They've been hating on us, but eventually you'll be able to say Alexa play Dollz Diva, and all her albums will come up. So, it's my AI artist, which is the next wave of like. So instead of running away from the different things that God has given the world, we as Christians need to take it and embrace it and use that for our platform so that God can edify the body of Christ without allowing the world to take it and run with it, right? We good? Okay. We already started recording. Oh, you already started? Oh.
Just up here.
All right.
Let's get into it.
All right. So turn Diva down for a second. So welcome to the Beauty in Building, ladies. I'm so excited to have everyone here. Again, my name is Lucretia Bill, and I am the founder of the Beauty in Building podcast. And I have my wonderful guest, Mr. Lynnecia Eley with us today. And so I invited her on the podcast because she is a phenomenal woman. So motivated, so dedicated to her craft and all the different things that she's doing. And so we're just going to sit down and have a conversation, and hopefully you guys will be able to pull something from the Beauty in Building. All right, so let's go. And I apologize, guys. I normally have podcast cards, but for some reason they didn't work this morning. My printer went haywire. It would not print. But I said, you know what? I'm gonna go the digital way.
Absolutely.
All right. So my first question to you, Miss Eley, is who are you at your core? You give yourself a nice introduction.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. Before I answer that question, because I really love the who are you at your core, I want to give you a little bit of background. So yes, I am Dr. Lynnecia Eley. I am known as the Confidence Doula. And what that is I help women and young adults walk into rooms self-assured, build that confidence or rebuild or tap back into their self-assurance so that they could find their voice, speak up louder, and show up in the rooms that they worked so hard to get into. Now, who am I at my core, right?
Yes.
I am a Black woman who leads with faith, integrity, my values, and my family, right? I am very intentional and serious about all of those things. I am a wife. I am a mom. I am a daughter. I am a friend who is passionate about how people feel when they are in my presence or when they leave my presence, right? So by day, my 9 to 5, I am a university assistant dean and also a professor. But by passion, I am an author, I am a coach, I am a leader who helps women, other black women, specifically other black women, to show up in those spaces loud, unapologetic, authentic, and trusting themselves. So that is who I am at my core.
Well, I appreciate you. So we met when I had my La Plata location.
Yes.
Yes. And she came into the salon and she was like, this is really nice. And I was like, thank you. And she became one of my most dedicated guests. And she boosted my confidence. You know, I was doing her hair and she was constantly pouring into me, constantly telling me how proud she was of me, constantly saying, I'm ready to see the next thing.
That's right.
When you gonna write that book? When you gonna start that podcast? You know, even when I went on to like open up my second location, well, when is the third coming? You know, like just constantly giving me confidence. And so I really appreciate you for that.
Thank you.
Because being an entrepreneur, you just never know how people are gonna receive you. And, you know, you never know how you're gonna impact people when you're doing different things. And so a lot of times when I'm sitting down with my clients and we're talking, I'm chatty Cathy.
Yes.
So, you know, we sit down and we have really, really great, genuine conversations. And I appreciate you allowing me to be your hairstylist, but now your friend.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I appreciate that because one thing she knows about my hair, it doesn't like people. It does not. We've tried it, right?
We've tried
to have other stylists, and no shade against any other stylist, but my hair likes who she likes. And if Lucretia's not doing it, she's not going to act right. And I appreciate just having that, being able to be in that space with you, because we also talk about things from family, life,
Yes, mom
childhood,
stuff,
business,
everything.
And I appreciate just being able to be myself with you, which also allows you to just open up and be who you are.
Yes, and whenever I sit down with the Confidence Doula, I never feel judged.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think that's important for genuine friendships, especially when you're trying to build something, no matter what it is, whether it's your family or your business or your education, whatever it is, being able to be around other people and being able to be genuine and being able to be told, like, no, girl, that's not what you should be doing right now. Or being able to be encouraged and being able to say, you know what, good job, but how can we make it better?
That's right.
Right? Never just allowing to have somebody just say, you know, oh, well, you did enough. It's time to stop. When you have people around you like that, it's time to move on and let them go.
Right.
Okay? So my next question for you is, of course, you're known as the Confidence Doula.
Yes.
You're an author, a leader, but at what moment in your journey did you realize confidence was your calling?
Good question. So there was a season early on. So I started testing entrepreneurship or starting businesses in middle school, high school, and then, you know, as I got older as a young adult, I thought, okay, I want to be very well established, you know. I had the degrees, I had the titles, I had the connections, the you know, the new projects that I was able to jump in and lead almost seamlessly or perfectly, right? I recall being in a board meeting, a C-suite meeting at a university, finally invited to the table. You know, I got my seat at the table. The only young black woman at that table, right? And the conversation was going on, and I knew I had the answer. I knew I had the process, the idea of how we should move forward, but the words got stuck in my throat, right? I didn't say anything. I left that meeting so upset and furious with myself. I said, why do you keep giving your voice away? Why, when you are finally invited, you don't show up? You don't speak up? And it was in that moment where I started to go into deep self-reflection. And I went back to my childhood. And I'm looking around the room, and tell me if this was you as a child. I grew up in the 80s, you know, and my parents said, as a young woman, you are to be seen and not heard. Right? So you can relate to that. Fast forward to today or a couple of years ago, we now know that to be imposter syndrome. Let's call it what it is. That's that foundation of being seen and unheard gave us the imposter syndrome that we have today, because we are brilliant, we're qualified, we are confident women, but we're told to be seen. Look pretty. Don't say anything, because you're going to be judged. So that was the moment where I started really studying what it is to be confident. You know, I tested it with myself. I tested it on my students. I tested it on my clients. And I realized that we all shared the same thing. We didn't know how to show up because we weren't allowed to show up. We also didn't feel safe when we did show up. So that's what kind of put me in this space. You know, I coached myself to a place where now my passion and my purpose is to help other women use their voice, speak up, step into rooms as their most confident selves.
Wow. So I can embrace that with so much, especially the part about not like showing up and not having a voice, or being the only person that looks like you in a room. But sometimes you being that only person in the room can show other people, right, that the person who you least expect is the one who's going to come with your answer. And you might be that person that has the answer for the next person. But if your voice is muted, right, and you can't get the confidence to speak out, then you can also hinder somebody else's walk. I think we talked about that last night. So coming full circle and hearing that twice from two different people, what that tells me is that for God to be able to put that in two different people's spirit at two different times, then for me personally, that means that what I'm doing, I'm on the right path, right?
Absolutely. Because
a lot of times I kind of would just settle on the fact that, like, I do really great hair, right? I've been doing it for so long, it kind of comes second nature. That is my arena. But I always wanted to, like, talk to women outside of my chair, because I just know how much I pour into them. And, like, when they leave from getting their hair done in my salon, or they sitting in my chairs, like, they leave, they be like, oh, my God, I went to go see Cretia today, and it happened, and I'm like, I got to figure out how to get this out to more people. I got to figure out how to impact more people. And so I appreciate that, because you just never know what people's journey like. When I met you, you were already a professor, you were already a mom, you had already done so much, and then just kind of hearing your backstory like means a lot.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
And I want to acknowledge something too about Cretia, because she talks a lot about doing hair. And for all of us, a lot of us, you know, our hair is our crown, right? We've heard that. So when you have clients in your chair, you're doing their hair, you are absolutely unlocking a part of confidence in them. You are unlocking their voice to say, you know what, today I want to try red, or turn me blonde today, or cut it all off. You know, you are a conduit, helping them move through whatever transition or transformation that they're looking for in that time. You are shepherding them through. So I thank you for that.
Yeah, I accept it. Thank you so much. All right, so you have a new book coming out.
I do.
Yes. And I heard it comes out on January the 26th. So let's talk about that. What inspired your new project? And what message can people get from your new project?
Right. I love this. One, I will say, when the conference host or the summit host was introducing or opening up this morning, she said a lot of things, and I'm like, I know I'm in the right spot, you know? And then Lucretia just said, this conversation has come full circle. I am an 8-time author, published author, and my next book is called Full Circle. It is the freedom in finding me again. It is on pre-sale right now, but it's going to be officially available and released on January 27th. 27th. Okay. And that date is significant because 5 years ago, on July 27th, I published my first book, Birth with Purpose. So 5 years and 6 months later, January 27th, I'm having a full circle moment. Full Circle is by far the most honest piece of work I have written in my life. This is what I am calling midlife memoir. And I call it that because most people get to 70, 80 and say I'm writing my memoir. This is my midlife because I got so much more living to do. So I'm going to write another one at 84.
All
letting
right,
you know,
now.
look out for it.
Listen,
I don't know what year that is,
here,
but
I'm be here
84.
for it. Still fabulous.
Exactly. and doing this hair, right? Yes. But Full Circle, The Freedom in Finding Me, I started writing it about 2 years ago because what I realized is so many people knew a story of me, but they did not know the story of me. And rather than allowing them to write that story or make up that story, I wanted to tell the story myself in my voice, no holds back, of how I became who I am. Fast forward to September of this year. So this book was always going to come out on my 45th birthday, November 30th, right? I was going to release it. But in September, I lost my grandmother. And that shook me to my core. I was blessed to have 5 grandparents, 2 grandmothers, 3 grandfathers. And they all passed before this last grandparent of mine, my gramps, I call her. And she has been the one who, through all that other grief, she has been my constant. I've always said my last living grandparent. And when she unexpectedly passed away, I didn't know what to do with myself. You know, I was in the middle of writing the final chapter of this book, and I was stuck. But then her story became that final chapter. I am so excited for readers to read Full Circle because what I know for sure is going to be an opportunity to allow your own self-reflection about how you've become who you are. What are the experiences that you went through in life? What did you have to give yourself permission to do? What did you have to give yourself permission to uncover or deal with? And then who around you helped support you through that? So Full Circle is my story of not just becoming, but honoring who she was, meaning me, and honoring who I am. And it started with my grandmother, and it ended with my grandmother, and that's the full circle.
I am blown away, honestly, because 8 books.
8.
Okay, that is amazing.
Thank you.
In 5 years, you said?
It has been 5 years.
Yes.
So I've been a writer. You know, I started writing in high school. I was that girl that my friends wanted to write letters to their boyfriends. They came to me, so I wrote the letter.
So you was the original Chat GPT.
Listen, okay.
Hello. Okay.
I wrote their letters.
Dr. Eley GPT.
GPT, right?
Yes.
So I was always a writer, but I was always afraid to write my own and publish my own. And it was about 7 years ago, I was in front of a panel of authors, and they were talking about their books. And I grabbed the mic, and I just cried on the mic to them. It was Q&A, and I cried, and they were like, what is wrong? And I was like, I have this burning desire to write, to share, but it won't come out. I don't know what to do. And one of the authors said, just write it, just do it, just put it out there. And that's what Birth with Purpose was published 5 years ago. So yes, it's been 8 books in 5 years.
Yes, because sometimes once you unlock your purpose,
Right.
you never know how much is going to flow out from that. Once you step into trying something new or listening to God and walking through that door, you just never know what's on the other side of it. So had you continued to operate in fear,
Right.
we would have never gotten those 8 books. Those people would have never, like the Confidence Doula would have never been created. And so sitting around and being around other women who will kind of help you impact and lead your vision is so important. And that's a lot of what the Beauty in Building is about.
Right.
It's about sitting down with people from all over my community and hearing their story so that when other people go back and they look at this platform, they're like, oh my goodness, I saw this person do this and I saw that person do that. And really being able to be an inspiration, because one of the things that really I am trying to do right now and writing what my story is I'm my ancestors' wildest dream. Okay? 4 generations ago, none of the things that I have even been able to do scratch the surface. Some people were not allowed to even be in the rooms, have those creative mindsets, or if they were doing any of those things, they had somebody else's thumb on top of them. And so, when I look back for my grandmother, my grandfathers, anybody who came before me, I'm like, I am now living what they dreamed about.
Right.
And I want to be that, for my children and my grandchildren. I'm always thinking about my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren, because my children got a chance to experience me. But who is my legacy going to be when my great-grandchildren hear my name?
Right.
Are they going to be able to look up on the internet and see, who their great-grandmother was and all the different things that she put out into the universe and how many people she was able to help? And so that is a part of my passion. And I appreciate you as the Confidence Doula and as an author, because like I said, when you sat in my chair and we started talking, I was like, well, if she could do it, I could do it.
Absolutely.
Right? And then I met another author, and I'm like, well, if she could do it, I could do it. And then one day I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. So
Absolutely.
my next question for you is, every builder has a season that shapes them. So I know we just was talking about your grandmother and her passing, but are there any other seasons in your life that you can think about that help define your ability to move forward with all of your endeavors?
So when you're living life, you're going to go through seasons. And I think sometimes some of us may have the mindset that we want to avoid a season, right?
Yeah,
I'm looking for it.
I'm just gonna fly to Florida, child. 'Cause
Yeah,
I don't like this.
I'm looking for what's around the corner, because I
can't-
want to meet you. I want to know what this season is, because what I know for sure is that I don't have to endure any season alone.
Praise
As
God.
long as I have God, and I call them I also have my 3 best friends, and that's Peter, John, and James, because I'm gonna carry them everywhere I go. Just in case somebody want to get out of line, I got Peter by my side,
Hello.
But I think one defining season for me was when I finally realized what purpose really was, right? So I used to think purpose was a dream job or, starting that business. I used to think purpose was, let me go get another degree because that's my purpose. And then I realized that that is not at all what purpose is. Purpose is, to me, how I define purpose is how you serve others. What is it? What is the feeling that other people get when they are in your presence? What do they take away from you? How are you causing, one of my favorite words, metanoia, right? And what that is a transformational shift. Some may say a spiritual shift, an internal shift. What are you doing and saying that's causing an impact, that's causing reflection, that's causing people to think? That is what purpose is. So I live my life coming out of that season of realizing you could have all the degrees. You could have all the titles. Yes, I can stand here and say I manage one of the largest schools or largest programs at Georgetown University. That means nothing if you meet me and my spirit and my aura and my conversation is garbage, right? So I show up in spaces with the anointing. That wasn't the word I was going to use, but yes, God.
Yes, God, anointing.
With the anointing to be open and pull others in and let them know that it's okay. It's okay that you don't have a doctorate degree. It's okay that you don't have an associate's degree. But God did plant something in you that deserves to be nurtured, that deserves to bloom, that deserves to be seen on the outside.
I absolutely love that. Because, like you said, it's about how people feel when they leave your presence. So I remember being in school, and there was a lunch lady. And I think probably everybody has probably had this experience. Like, you got these teachers, you got the principal, you got all these different people with all of these, like, high-ranking degrees. But it was literally, when I was in middle school, it was the lunch lady. Because she would see me every day and be like, you are so pretty. And I would be like, I am? And like I was, you kind of like, you finding yourself in middle school and trying to figure out like who you are. And to this day, whenever I talk to anybody who went to school with me, we can't remember none of our teachers. We can't even remember who our principal was in middle school. But Miss Jones, the lunch lady, we remember her because she would be like, do you need anything extra? See you in the hallway. She was always smiling. And so I remembered the way that she made me feel. It wasn't about her degrees. It was like she was the one that we look forward to coming to school to go to lunch because of how much she built on us. And so sometimes you think it's your position or, like you said, your degrees or what you've accomplished. And you can literally just be walking down the street and seeing somebody and give them a compliment, and that might keep them from taking the next step in their life. Right. It might be like that one thing that keep them from going back to that abusive relationship. Coming across so many different women on a consistent basis and hearing all of their different stories, you just never know where people are.
And I think it's important to acknowledge that we all have that gift and that power to do so. Sometimes you don't even have to use words. You can walk past somebody and a simple smile could change their day. If you've been, a lot of people, I don't know, maybe you've been on social media and you've heard and seen the stories where people say, oh, a black woman called me sweetie today.
Yeah.
A black woman, that's a gift that God gave us. Only us, because we are the mothers, right?
The mothers.
Mothers.
Mother.
That's how you say it here?
Mother.
I'm from Miami, Florida, so the mothers, right? That we are that. So we have that gift, and we can't be shy about it. So a nod, a smile, how you doing, baby? It can affect someone's life tremendously.
And it makes people feel seen. I think with today's society, with everybody being on their phones and being all teched up, I call it like you got the tech wall around you. You can just look at your phone and, keep walking or whatever that is. But that person-to-person connection, like just looking somebody in their eye and being like, hey, girl, I see you, making somebody else feel seen can be the confidence booster that you didn't even know that you were giving them.
Right.
So completely relatable. I am gaining so much from this, and I really, really, really love it. So when you decided to start this journey and, you know, you were like, okay, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But not only did you do that, but you started building a community.
Right.
What exactly does community mean to you? And how important is it for other women to understand community when they're building their visions?
Yes, so community. I love community, not because of the word itself, because I do love words. I'm a writer. But community to me is real relationships, you know. It's not just contacts. You know, we go to networking receptions or meet and greets or meetups, and we're collecting business cards. Let me get your phone number. Tap, you know, digital world. Tap my phone so we can
So
connect.
we can link up.
That's not real community. That's not real connection. What that is you're just growing your list, as they say. You know, for me, community is having colleagues, friends, people in your circle that could cheer you on, but then also correct you when you need that correction. Community is being able to show up as your authentic self without any walls. You know, yes, we show up in spaces put together. We want our hair done, we put our makeup on, but I want to be in a community where if I show up and I didn't put on any makeup today. My hair is in a bun, or it's a bird's nest because I slept with my bonnet on and it came halfway off throughout the night. I want to be able to be in a community that's not going to judge me, that's going to see any chaos in my life and say, let's have some calm. Let me help you get calm. And one thing I coach my clients through is a question that I like to ask is, what three people in your life serve as your community? Name three people that you could go to unapologetically, that provides no judgment, that could cheer you on, but then also correct you and say, no, girl, don't do that. Don't ever do that again. And if you cannot name three people immediately, that is your next assignment. That is your next assignment, to find three people to start building your community. Community is so much more than who you know. Like, I could say I know Lynnecia. She owns London K. Waldorf, you know? But I could also say, no, that's my sister. Like, who said something about Lynnecia? Because I know Lynnecia.
Who said something?
Who?
I don't know.
Because did they?
I don't know. We're going to
listen,
find out.
I'm from Miami.
Hello?
She said south side of Chicago.
Listen.
I'm from Miami, Florida.
Listen, you know, I think that is what our community as a whole is missing. Not just the like knowing people, but the being able to correct. Mm-hmm. I find, because I deal with a lot of young people in my space, and the lack of correction as a whole is shocking to me.
Right.
The lack of them being able to receive correction is shocking to me. But as I talk to them and as I bring these girls in and as I mentor them, they start to see the beauty in that. Like, hey, no, everything you're doing is not right.
Right.
You know, and it could be from technical skill to communication skills to dress code. It's like so many different things. But as time has gone on and different things have been stripped away from us for us to be able to build, I think correction
Right.
was the number one thing that they took away. And I think we see this with the youth on a consistent basis. They're out in, you know, different big groups doing all types of crazy things, and even the National Guard can't correct them. Right. I say, I've never seen anything like this in my life, where teenagers are not even scared of the military. Mm-hmm. But that has become a consistent thing in our community. So the more that we can, it's a lot of it with us not wanting to be corrected. As soon as somebody says something that we don't like, that we know is true, not because they're being malicious, but because they're trying to help us, we want to cut them. Oh, girl, I can't. She not supporting me. No, she not supporting your nonsense.
Right.
Okay? And a lot of us want people to support our nonsense. And I think even for me, like, it's been certain times where, like, you know, my friends like, what? No, you supposed to be doing this. What are you over here doing that for? Why are you over here talking to this guy when your husband is, you said you was waiting on your husband, but you over here doing this and that. And I'm like, no, girl, he is fine. You don't see this man that's trying to talk to me? He is fine. And they like,
The foolishness,
the
right?
foolishness, right? But being able to be receptive to that, I think is so important for our growth and building whatever it is that we're going to be able to do, right? Because no one's perfect.
Right.
We all make mistakes, but it's okay when somebody tells you it's a mistake and being able to figure out how to autocorrect. Or even if you don't know how to autocorrect, ask them, well, how do I change?
And that's what your community is there for.
Yes.
When they identify something that needs to be corrected or changed, they should also be able to offer that support. And if they can't, that's not your community. It's not a part of your circle.
Yeah, because there's so many times when people will point out to you what you're doing wrong, but they don't have any solutions. I'm a very solution-driven person. So if you come to me with a problem and you like, girl, every time I go outside, you know, my car tire is low. And I'm not just going to tell you to put air in it. I'm like, okay, we're going to go outside. We're going to check. Make sure there ain't no nails in it. We're going to make sure your rim ain't bent. We're going to go to a tire shop and make sure, I'm going to send you to a good tire shop to make sure you got a good alignment. Because there's so many different things that could be going on with why that tire is going low.
Right.
I can't just be like, well, oh, girl, go down to the gas station and put some air in it. Because you're going to keep having to do that same thing over and over again. You're not really fixing the problem. You're just putting a Band-Aid on it. Right. And so I encourage everybody, if you are going to be somebody's community or you are going to be one of those people that is going to, like, try to help other people, that you also are solution driven, not just advice given. Like, don't just be out here just giving out advice, but actually be able to give people solutions. And if you can't figure it out, send them in a direction that you know somebody who can. Right. Like, I'm not a mechanic, so I can't change your tire, but I got 4 different mechanic shops that I can send you to with people who I can trust. And I think, I think that is the gist of what that looks like for our community.
Right.
All right, so we are, heading down to the final ones. My last question for you is, when you think about the beauty in building, what does that phrase mean to you? And what would you say to someone who is just beginning their own building journey?
Ooh, I like that. So for me, the beauty in building is acknowledging that there's a process, right? I used to, when I first started my business, I started out as consulting and coaching, and I was consulting new entrepreneurs, so new business owners in their first 1 to 3 years on how to build their business. And one of my pillars was your business plan, right? You have to write it out and you have to make it plain, right? That's what we're told.
Yes.
I have since moved away from coaching business plans because it's not about what we've written down, because you can build your perfect dream, right? But it's the process of doing. And I think the beauty in building is doing. There will be failures. I'm not going to say you're going to do it perfectly, but acknowledging that it won't be perfect, that you may fail, but you're going to learn a lesson. You're going to now know, if I come to this fork in the road again, I know I need to go left, because last time I went right and it didn't pan out correctly for me. The beauty in building is also not about the final product, right? It's about processing through all the years, all the headaches, all the people in the community that you meet to get to what you are building. It's not the salon, right?
Right. No.
It is a space for people to come in and get what they need, whether it's hair, whether it's conversation, whether it's a cup of coffee, you know? So that for me is when I think of beauty in the building, it is spaces like this. This is beautiful. Not only are we all beautiful, it's beautiful to be able to be in a space and have a conversation that says, let me get what I need. You know? And like the host said, you may not agree with everything that I say. And look, see, my southern just popped right out, everything that I say, but take what you need. Take what resonates with you. That's the beauty of all of this.
I could not agree more. When I think about the beauty in building, I think, I kind of started thinking about architecture and how it always starts with a blueprint. Like no house is built without a set of blueprints, and no house is built without a firm foundation. And if it is built without a firm foundation, shortly thereafter, it probably will wash away.
Right.
And so as I'm going through my journeys and as I'm continuing to help other people go through their journeys, I would just like to encourage everybody to find your firm foundation in God.
Yes.
And allow Holy Spirit to be your best friend. I tell everybody, like, I ride with Holy Spirit in most of the time my kids can't get in my front seat. Okay. Because I just jump in the car and throw stuff over there. But I be like, this seat, this passenger seat is reserved for Holy Spirit. But sometimes I gotta sit back and let God drive, right? And let know that my foundation is there. And so as anybody in the room or anybody is watching, if you can take one thing away from this beautiful conversation that I'm having with Dr. Eley, is making sure that as you build, you put God first, that you grow with confidence, okay, and that you find your community of people who are going to support, correct, and encourage.
Right, absolutely. And when you were saying that, I pulled out something and I said, God is going to put you in spaces and the conversation is going to lead to what you already know. I pulled this out because when Lucretia said it's the blueprint, a mantra that I have had is confidence is the foundation, purpose is the blueprint, and faith is the builder.
Amen. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming to my first live podcast session for the Beauty in Building. Woo! And if anybody would like to see the podcast, like I said, I am launching it at my birthday party on December the 23rd. I'm also having a book signing at London K Salon. And then we're having a listening party at Fire Pan. So a huge event that I'm throwing, and everybody is invited.
I want to openly thank Lucretia and the Beauty in Building podcast for having me on as a guest. Thank you all to the live audience who are here. I really appreciate it too. I know I've been talking, but I've been connecting with each of you as we've been talking. You can definitely find me on social media at She Can Inspire. My website is shecaninspire.com, and I'll stick around a little bit. I want to meet some of you, and if you have any questions, feel free to pull me to the side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies.
Let's go! Hey! Faith, family, future. We building big. Welcome to the Beauty